What if the vegetables you've trusted your whole life are quietly working against you after 65? Could the salad you had yesterday be the reason your joints ache today? Before you steam, sauté, or stir-fry another side dish, here's what you need to know. Have you always believed that all vegetables are good for your health, no matter your age? After 65, your body changes in ways you might not fully realize. What used to be a superfood in your 30s or 40s might now be draining your energy, putting pressure on your joints, or even stressing your kidneys and heart. Many seniors assume that loading up on vegetables is the safest, healthiest choice. But here's the truth. It's not about eating more vegetables. It's about eating the right ones for your aging body. This video isn't following the latest health trends, and we're not here to shock you for views. We're here to protect you from something worse, real regret. That quiet, painful realization that you've been eating something you believed was healthy, only to find out later it might have shortened your life. We've heard too many stories from people in their 70s and 80s saying, "If only I'd known this sooner." And that's exactly why we made this video, to share with you 7 common vegetables that may be harming your health more than helping. Some of these may be in your fridge right now. Others might be foods your children or grandchildren encourage you to eat, thinking they're doing you a favor. But before you prep another salad or steam your next vegetable side, watch this video to the very end. It could be one of the most important decisions you make this year. If you're over 65 and determined to stay independent, strong, and healthy, you're in the right place. This isn't about fear, it's about knowledge. It's about truly understanding your body and giving it the kind of support it needs now, not 30 years ago. So let's dive into the first vegetable that may be quietly working against you: raw cruciferous vegetables. One of the most surprising realizations for many older adults is that raw cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts, might not be the health heroes they were once thought to be. These veggies are often celebrated for their cancer-fighting properties and high fiber content. And while that's certainly true for younger people with strong digestive systems, the story changes as we age, especially after 65. So, what's the catch? These vegetables contain naturally occurring compounds known as goitrogens. In small amounts, they're generally safe. But as you age, and especially if your thyroid function has started to decline, goitrogens can interfere with your body's ability to use iodine. And iodine isn't something to take lightly. It's essential for producing thyroid hormones, which control everything from your metabolism and energy to how well your brain functions. When the thyroid slows down, even a little, you might start feeling tired for no clear reason. Your thinking might get a bit foggy. You could feel colder than usual or notice more bloating, even when you're eating what you think is a healthy diet. It's not always about what you eat, but how your body responds to it as it ages. Now, add in common medications, like those for high blood pressure or cholesterol, and the problem can get worse. These meds can amplify how your body reacts to compounds in raw cruciferous vegetables. When your body is already managing changes in hormones, blood flow, and digestion, even a small imbalance can cause ripple effects. Let's talk about digestion. Raw cruciferous vegetables are packed with insoluble fiber, which sounds like a good thing, until your gut slows down. For younger folks, it might mean some minor gas or bloating. But for older adults, it can lead to days of uncomfortable bloating, poor nutrient absorption, and ongoing gut inflammation that just won't go away. I remember a woman named Patricia, 74 years old. She was determined to eat clean, raw broccoli at lunch, cabbage slaw at dinner. But despite her efforts, she constantly felt puffy and exhausted. The scale wouldn't budge. Her knees hurt more and more. It just didn't make sense. Then her doctor made one simple suggestion: stop eating raw cruciferous vegetables for a few weeks and try lightly steaming them instead. And the result? Within a month, her digestion improved. Her energy came back. She looked in the mirror and said, "I finally feel like my food is working with my body, not against it." Let that sink in. Sometimes, the change you need isn't radical. It's simply understanding what your aging body can handle and making a small shift that brings real relief. Now, let's be clear. We're not saying broccoli is bad for you. It's not about what you eat, but how you prepare it. When you lightly steam or saute cruciferous vegetables, something powerful happens. Those goitrogens that can interfere with your thyroid get broken down. That means your body can absorb the nutrients without putting extra strain on your digestion or your thyroid. You still get the benefits, vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants, but with far fewer side effects. So, if raw broccoli or raw cauliflower has been a staple in your meals, it might be time to give it a break. Try steaming them gently, just enough to soften them. You might be surprised by how quickly your body responds, with better digestion, a clearer mind, and far less bloating or discomfort. Next up, let's talk about nightshade vegetables. As you move into your 60s, 70s, and beyond, you may begin to feel more aches and pains creeping in. You haven't changed your routine, and yet your knees feel stiffer, your fingers ache in the morning, or your back feels inflamed for no obvious reason. Sound familiar? If it does, it might be time to take a closer look at your diet, especially if tomatoes, eggplants, bell peppers, or white potatoes are showing up on your plate often. These are part of the nightshade family of plants. They're in countless dishes across the U.S., from summer salads to hearty stews. But despite their popularity, they could be making life harder for some older adults. Why? The answer lies in a compound called solanine, found in all nightshades. In large enough amounts, or in people with increased sensitivity, solanine can irritate the lining of your gut and trigger inflammation. And as we age, our bodies tend to become more reactive. What barely affected you in your 30s or 40s might now cause noticeable discomfort or inflammation that lingers for days. Imagine you're someone who enjoys a fresh tomato salad at lunch, roasted eggplant for dinner, and mashed potatoes on the side. That sounds healthy enough, right? But if your immune system is less efficient, those meals might quietly be fueling low-level inflammation, leading to joint stiffness, nerve sensitivity, or even unpredictable digestion. Here's what makes it even more frustrating. These symptoms develop gradually. They creep in slowly, and because they differ from person to person, they're often mistaken for just aging. People stretch more, try anti-inflammatory creams, or take extra pain relievers, without realizing that a few simple food choices might be at the root of the problem. Let me share the story of Alan, a retired teacher in his early 80s. He started noticing a persistent, dull burning pain in his hands every morning, especially after meals that included his favorite homemade chili, packed with tomatoes and bell peppers. At first, he assumed it was just arthritis. His doctor ran tests, but nothing conclusive came up. The discomfort was written off as part of getting older. But then Alan's daughter, who happened to be a nutritionist, made a simple suggestion: cut out nightshades for a few weeks and see what happens. Reluctantly, he gave it a try. After just 3 weeks, he was stunned. The pain had lessened so much that he no longer needed to take his daily ibuprofen. Imagine his surprise. Something as common as a tomato, something he'd eaten his whole life, was triggering that much discomfort simply because his body had changed with age. Now, this doesn't mean that nightshades are dangerous or that you need to eliminate them forever. But if you're over 65 and you've been struggling with joint pain, digestive troubles, or unexplained skin flare-ups, it might be worth testing the theory. Take a break from nightshades for 3 to 4 weeks. See how your body responds. Many people are amazed by how quickly the inflammation quiets down and their movement becomes easier. And if you decide to reintroduce them, do it gradually. Pay attention to how your body feels. Some people find that they tolerate cooked nightshades much better than raw ones. That's because cooking methods like roasting, boiling, or fermenting help reduce the solanine content, making the vegetables easier on your digestive system and your joints. Nutrition in your senior years isn't just about packing in more healthy foods. It's also about recognizing which foods no longer support your body the way they used to. You've already come a long way. Your body has carried you through decades of life. It deserves to feel as vibrant and pain-free as possible. Sometimes, That starts by removing things you never suspected were causing harm in the first place. If you're still watching, and this is resonating with you, leave a comment with the number 2 down below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our future videos. Your support truly helps us keep creating content that informs, inspires, and empowers. Now, let's keep going. Number 3, canned spinach and nitrate-rich greens. Spinach has always carried a healthy reputation. We grew up hearing it would make us strong, like Popeye. And it's true. Spinach has many valuable nutrients. But there's a growing concern, especially for older adults, when it comes to canned spinach or overprocessed leafy greens. The issue? Nitrates. These naturally occurring compounds, found in high quantities in spinach, can become problematic when combined with age-related changes in digestion, kidney performance, and common medications. Spinach, along with arugula and beet greens, is known for being rich in nitrates. In moderation, these compounds can actually be beneficial. They help blood vessels relax, support circulation, and may even lower blood pressure. But here's the catch. When your body can't process nitrates efficiently, they can turn into something far less helpful and even dangerous. This becomes especially relevant for seniors. If you're taking blood pressure medication, using antacids regularly, or dealing with reduced kidney function, your body's ability to handle nitrates declines. Instead of breaking them down safely, nitrates can convert into nitrites and sometimes into nitrosamines, compounds that have been linked to increased cancer risk. The danger grows when these nitrates are combined with preservatives or cooked at high heat, which is often the case with canned vegetables. That's why canned spinach can be far more harmful than it appears, especially when compared to a fresh bowl of raw baby spinach or lightly cooked greens. Overcooking and preserving it strips away nutrients and boosts the risk factors, making it a poor choice for aging bodies. Take the story of Carolyn, a 75-year-old woman managing both high blood pressure and early-stage kidney problems. Like many of her generation, she believed spinach was a heart-healthy superfood. She made it part of her daily lunch, usually the canned variety. But then she started experiencing strange symptoms: dizziness, lightheadedness, fatigue that just wouldn't go away. Her doctor initially chalked it up to her medication, but when a nutritionist reviewed her diet, the culprit became clear: daily canned spinach. Once Carolyn replaced the canned spinach with lighter, fresh greens, her symptoms began to fade. Within 2 weeks, she felt noticeably more stable, more alert, and her energy returned. But there's another layer to this: oxalates. Spinach is one of the most oxalate-rich vegetables out there. And oxalates, when consumed in high amounts, can contribute to kidney stone formation. This becomes a serious concern as we age, particularly for seniors who aren't drinking enough water or who've had kidney stones in the past. Here's something many people don't realize. Oxalates bind to calcium in the kidneys. When that happens, they can form crystals. Those crystals can turn into stones, cause pain, or worse, lead to infection. And since many older adults also take calcium supplements, the risk becomes even higher. So what can you do if spinach has always been part of your healthy routine? First, if you're still eating canned spinach, start phasing it out. Choose fresh or lightly steamed spinach instead, and don't eat it every day. Variety is key. Stay well hydrated, especially if your diet includes other oxalate-rich foods like beets or certain nuts. And most importantly, rotate your greens. You don't have to give up nutrient-rich vegetables. Try Swiss chard, romaine lettuce, naïates, bok choy, or baby kale. These greens provide great benefits without the same levels of oxalates or nitrate-related risks. Your body will thank you for the gentle shift, and you might feel the difference faster than you expect. Nitrate overload isn't something most people think about until it starts affecting their health. The key here is variety. The more you rely on a single vegetable every day, the higher the risk that it will eventually cause problems, especially as your digestion or kidney function slows down with age. What fueled your body in your 30s may not serve you the same way in your 70s. That's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. Knowing how to adapt is one of the smartest health strategies you can embrace. Understanding which vegetables might be causing subtle harm gives you the power to make small, meaningful changes that can protect your energy, your organs, and your overall well-being. Let's keep going. The next vegetable on our list is one of the most overlooked dangers in a typical senior's diet: pickled vegetables. For many older adults, pickled vegetables bring back fond memories. You might remember jars of pickles, carrots, or green beans soaking in brine on a pantry shelf, passed down through generations, eaten during tough times, and loved as a comfort food. They're familiar, nostalgic, and often seen as old-fashioned healthy. But for your body after 65, especially your heart, kidneys, and blood vessels, these briny favorites might be causing silent harm. The biggest issue? Sodium. Store-bought pickled vegetables are often packed with it. Even a small serving can contain hundreds of milligrams of salt. And let's be honest, how often does anyone eat just one bite? Excess sodium intake is a major risk factor for high blood pressure. But this isn't just a matter of numbers on a monitor. It's about pressure inside your body, day after day. It strains the walls of your arteries. It pushes against the fragile blood vessels in your brain. It overworks your kidneys and even puts pressure on your eyes. You may not notice the impact immediately, but your body certainly does. Over time, it adds up, especially for seniors already managing pre-hypertension or full-blown hypertension. And it gets worse when those pickled vegetables are combined with other salty foods, processed soups, cheeses, canned sauces. Before you know it, your sodium intake can spike without you even realizing it. Take Gerald, for example. He's 80 years old and had eaten pickled okra with his lunch almost every day for years. It reminded him of his grandmother's kitchen, and it gave him comfort. But after experiencing a mild stroke, he went in for a full health screening. His doctor discovered something alarming. His sodium levels were through the roof. What shocked Gerald most was that it wasn't fast food or chips causing the problem. It was the humble, pickled vegetables he believed were healthy. Once he eliminated the high-sodium versions and switched to low-sodium pickles or fresh vegetable alternatives, his blood pressure began to drop. His energy levels came back, and he felt lighter, more alert, and more in control of his health. Sometimes, the foods that seem harmless, or even traditional, can quietly work against you. But a small change, like reading sodium labels or choosing fresh over pickled, can lead to powerful results. There's also an emotional layer many people don't talk about. For seniors, giving up a longtime favorite food can feel like letting go of a piece of their past. Each jar of pickles or familiar snack might carry memories of childhood, family dinners, or simpler times. But here's the thing. It's not about losing something. It's about replacing it with something better for your current health. You can still enjoy those satisfying, crunchy, tangy flavors, just without the sodium overload. Try lightly pickled cucumbers made with simple vinegar, fresh herbs, and no added salt. Or explore fermented options like kimchi or sauerkraut in small amounts, as they come with added probiotic benefits. The key is reading the labels carefully to avoid sneaky sodium and preservatives. Even better, snack on fresh vegetables with a splash of lemon juice, or use a salt substitute to get that same zest without the damage. And it's not just about your blood pressure. Too much sodium does something else. It pulls calcium out of your bones. Over time, that can weaken your bone density and increase your risk of developing osteoporosis. That's especially dangerous for seniors, as brittle bones can lead to serious injuries from falls. Injuries that are often life-altering and slow to heal. So when you think about cutting back on salty, pickled foods, try not to see it as giving something up. See it as protecting your future, your balance, your bones, and your ability to stay active and independent. You're not losing a snack. You're gaining stronger bones, better circulation, and more time to enjoy the things and people you love. So the next time you reach for that familiar crunchy jar, just pause. Your heart, your kidneys, and yes, even your bones are counting on you to make the better choice. If you're still with us and finding these tips helpful, drop a comment with the number 4 below to let me know you're still watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend doing that now. And turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us continue sharing insights to keep you informed, inspired, and healthier. Let's move on. Number 5. Canned tomatoes and tomato-based products. At first glance, tomatoes seem like one of the healthiest foods out there, and in many ways, that's true. They're rich in lycopene, packed with antioxidants, and full of flavor. A fresh tomato can absolutely be a senior's best friend. But the danger lies not in the tomato itself, but in how it's processed and packaged. Canned tomatoes, tomato sauces, and even tomato juices often contain large amounts of added sodium, sugar, and chemical preservatives. But here's the bigger issue. Most cans are still lined with BPA, or bisphenol A. This chemical is especially problematic with acidic foods like tomatoes, because it tends to leach from the can lining into the food itself. Studies have linked BPA exposure to hormone disruption, chronic inflammation, and even higher risks of heart disease and certain types of cancer. And for seniors, whose bodies are more sensitive and less efficient at detoxifying harmful substances, this exposure can be even more damaging. Inflammation, slow healing, joint discomfort. These risks aren't theoretical. They're real, and they can creep in slowly without you ever realizing the source. Just look at Harriet, 76 years old. She thought she was making a smart choice by preparing spaghetti sauce at home instead of using store-bought jars filled with additives. But what she didn't know was that the canned, crushed tomatoes she used week after week were delivering a constant dose of BPA directly into her meals. Kidney function, or heart health, this can be a real issue. And then there's the acid factor. As we age, many people begin to experience acid reflux, or GERD. Canned tomatoes, especially when turned into concentrated sauces or pastes, can aggravate this condition. That burning in your chest, the sour taste in your throat, or the nighttime cough you can't seem to shake. Could it be linked to your favorite tomato stew or pasta sauce? So what's the better option? Choose fresh or frozen tomatoes when you can. If you love rich, hearty sauces, try cooking down ripe tomatoes yourself. It's easier than you think. Add garlic, herbs, a little olive oil, and you'll have a homemade sauce that's both delicious and far healthier. And if you absolutely need canned tomatoes, go for BPA-free packaging and low-sodium labels. These small switches can make a huge difference. In the end, it's not about fear. It's about knowledge. You're not cutting tomatoes out of your life. You're simply choosing to bring them in differently, cleaner, safer, and without invisible risks lurking in the packaging. Let's continue. The next vegetable might catch you off guard: celery, especially when consumed in excess or if it's of poor quality. Celery has long had a reputation as the ultimate low-calorie, guilt-free snack. It's crunchy, hydrating, and often appears in heart-healthy diet tips, especially for seniors. You see it in salads, snack trays, even in green juices. But here's what most people miss. Celery, depending on how it's grown and how much you consume, might not be as harmless as it seems. What you eat every day might seem harmless, but sometimes even the most innocent-looking vegetables can quietly do more harm than good. And when it comes to celery, there are a few hidden risks that are especially important for older adults to understand. Let's start with the pesticide issue. Celery consistently ranks among the top vegetables with the highest pesticide residues, according to watchdog groups like the Environmental Working Group. Why? Because celery has a very thin, porous surface. It doesn't have a protective peel or thick skin like some fruits, which means it absorbs nearly everything it's sprayed with. And unlike apples or carrots, there's nothing to peel away. You eat the entire stalk, chemicals and all. For seniors, this is no small matter. If your immune system is a bit weaker, if your liver isn't functioning as efficiently as it used to, or if you're already managing inflammation or chronic health conditions, even small, repeated doses of pesticide residue can add up. Your body may not bounce back as quickly, making recovery slower and symptoms more persistent. Take Shirley, for instance. At 69, she started every morning with a tall glass of celery juice. She'd read it was great for blood pressure and digestion, but after about 3 months, she began experiencing strange symptoms: frequent headaches, jitteriness, and a mysterious rash that would flare up, then disappear. Her doctor couldn't pinpoint a cause. Finally, a nutritionist suggested switching to organic celery. Slowly, her symptoms faded. It wasn't the celery itself, it was what came with it. There's also the sodium factor. Celery doesn't taste salty, but it contains naturally occurring sodium. For someone on a salt-restricted diet, whether due to high blood pressure, kidney disease, or heart issues, even small sources of extra sodium can begin to add up. If you're already consuming processed foods, canned soups, or salty snacks, that healthy celery might just be the thing that tips your sodium levels a little too high. And there's one more concern: oxalates. Like spinach and beets, celery contains these natural compounds that, in sensitive individuals, can contribute to kidney stone formation. If you've ever had a kidney stone, you know how painful it can be. Some people say they'd rather walk barefoot across hot gravel than experience that kind of agony again. So while celery can absolutely be part of a healthy diet, it's important to think about quality, quantity, and context. Choosing organic when possible, eating it in moderation, and being mindful of what else is in your daily meals can help you enjoy the benefits without the hidden drawbacks, that pain again. And while we're on the topic, there's one more thing worth mentioning: celery and digestion. For many seniors, especially those with slower or more sensitive digestive systems, celery's stringy texture can pose a hidden challenge. Those tough fibers that give celery its crunch can actually cause bloating, gas, or irritation. Your body has to work harder to break them down. That may not sound like a big deal, but for a digestive tract that's already inflamed or sluggish, it can feel like trying to run a marathon with a limp. Think about it. Have you ever felt gassy or uncomfortable after a big salad loaded with raw celery? You're not imagining it. It's not the celery itself, but the effort your gut has to put in just to process it. So what's the solution? You don't need to eliminate celery entirely. Instead, make smarter choices. Always wash it thoroughly to remove any pesticide residue. Choose organic whenever possible to reduce chemical exposure. And most importantly, avoid going overboard. A few sticks here and there can be refreshing, but making it your daily go-to might not serve your body the way you think it does. Balance is key. Pair celery with other hydrating, gut-friendly vegetables like cucumbers or zucchini. These are gentler on the digestive system, easier to break down, and still give you that fresh, cooling crunch. If you're still watching this video and finding these tips helpful, leave a comment with the number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Your support makes it possible for us to continue creating content that informs, inspires, and helps you live your healthiest life. Something so simple, yet so often overlooked. Did any of these surprise you? Most people naturally assume that all vegetables are good for you, especially as you get older. But as we've uncovered today, it's not just about the vegetable itself. It's about the full picture: how the food is grown, how your body processes it, and how frequently you're eating it. As we age, our bodies begin to prioritize balance and gentleness. What once gave us strength and energy at 40 or 50 might have a very different effect in our 70s or 80s. And that's not something to fear. It's simply a part of understanding and honoring the natural shifts that come with time. This isn't about being afraid of food. It's about being aware. It's about making intentional choices, not blindly following old habits or diet trends that may no longer serve us. Food is still nourishment. It's still comfort. But now it's also wisdom. The kind of wisdom that reminds us to check labels, rotate our greens, choose organic when possible, and listen more closely to how our body reacts. Let this video be your reminder that even small changes, a new vegetable here, a gentler option there, can make a big difference. They might not just add more years to your life, but more life to your years. There's no one-size-fits-all rulebook for aging well. But paying attention to what's on your plate is one of the most powerful and personal chapters in that journey. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned from this video and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your insights and stories mean so much to us, and they inspire others too. We truly enjoy reading what you have to say. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might benefit. Your support helps us keep producing content that empowers and uplifts. Wishing you continued health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more valuable content ahead.